Hi, I'm Cameron Bonzi. I'm the VP of Marketing with Coast of Maine Organic Products. And I'm here with Lynn Rapp of Garden Center Solutions. And Lynn, thank you for being here today. You at Garden Center Solutions have been a big part of Coast of Maine's brand over the last 6 months, especially. And you are also a horticulturalist. You have your own flower farm. And you and I are here to meet and kind of talk a little bit about peat and sustainability and the future. And we're actually recording this on Earth Day in 2022. So hopefully we're doing the right things, and I think we are. So, but tell me just give me a little background on you in horticulture, your love, your passion, and how you got here with the writing.
So it's just innate. I have always loved plants and nature, and it's just always been that way. I think a lot of it came from my dad and my grandmother. My grandmother was a Ukrainian immigrant.
Oh, she
And
was.
we would, I can remember going to the zoo with her, and she would pinch the roses and stick the pinching into her handbag. And then we'd come home and she had a postage size backyard, and she would plant them under old pickle jars, grow rose bushes. So anyway, I've always had a love for horticulture. I went to Temple University for horticulture. Even in high school, I went to Votech School for horticulture, and worked in the industry my whole life. It's all I've ever done. I started working for Garden Center Solutions and Angela Cooley 12 years ago.
Wow.
And that has evolved. I started managing her office, and now I do her horticultural writing. And I have a side gig. I have a small suburban flower farm. We grow specialty cut flowers we're in Pennsylvania, for the tri-state area, florists and event designers. So busy.
Yeah, it is busy, especially this time of year with everything that you have going on. I mean, it's overwhelming at certain times. I think for people in this industry, you get so busy that you have no time to think. You just have to react.
Yeah.
And we're certainly that way at Coast of Maine this time of year with creating our blends and doing everything that we need to do just to get product out the door, from trucking and logistics and raw material supply can be extremely overwhelming. And then now good and challenging at the same time is, I wanted to talk about our use of peat and why we've used peat in the past and why we're reducing how much peat we use, those types of things. We did see, obviously, the peat raw material supply with the harvest last year went down, the availability of it. We were already in the process of using wood fiber and testing it. We've always been pushing toward less peat, and most of our stuff is compost based, but we do blend it in there.
So let me ask you a question, Cameron. What is peat, and why do people even care?
Well, peat's been around for thousands of years and takes a long time to form. And going back to the way the glaciers formed and material breaking down in a very sterile environment. And peat is very important for not only peat bogs do a couple of things. They are big on sequestering carbon. They're a big carbon sink. And over the time of the formation of peat, they also filter a lot of water, do a lot of great things. And because it's a very sterile environment in many ways, but it becomes an amazing input for growing. And people have used it for a very long time to grow and do good things. Peat was, go ahead.
It's so lightweight and so affordable.
Yes, it is. And it has components that are very positive for us in the way that it's used, and that peat has a very low pH. So we know that plants take up nutrients in a certain range on their pH. And so peat for us, in the way that we blend soils, our compost is alkaline and peat is acidic. And so that pulls down our pH so that plants can grow effectively in it. It also makes the soil easier to work with. And it creates a beautiful environment for growing plants. It just does. Years ago, people harvested peat in Europe. They used to heat their houses with peat. They would destroy peat logs. So Europe, right?
I was in Ireland on my honeymoon, and a lot of the old homes we went into, they still had peat bricks next to their fireplaces and were burning them.
Yeah, even in the U.S., there's been people not in that distant past that were doing those same types of things. So it's a lack of understanding of what peat does and how it protects the environment. And I do think that over the years, as people have come to understand that, the harvesting in North America is more sustainable. That doesn't mean it's perfect, but the Canadian peat companies do have systems. They do care about what they're doing, but we have to still be looking for those options that are truly sustainable and move away from it. And that's where, with us, this proactivity, number one, we have a woman by the name of Felicia Newman, who's really amazing. We hired her in 2013. A lot of people have seen videos of her. She is a chemical engineer by trade, and she actually worked for paper companies. She knows a lot about wood and wood fiber. And she knows an amazing amount about organic gardening. And she's just an amazing human being. So
Wonder Woman.
And she makes me feel bad about myself every day when but she's one of those people that sees the future. She's always the canary in the coal mine. And she's been saying to us for a long time, we need to shift. But it's not an excuse, but we've grown a lot as a company, and we're trying to make sure there's good organic product out there, which we are. We meet all the organic certifications. We are doing great things. This year, she started experimenting, I should say in 2021, early in 2021, she started doing more experimenting with wood fiber, kind of changing our blends. It's not easy. It's not easy how those inputs impact how the soil reacts. And so we had done grow outs and tested, and we came up with some slightly altered recipes that are less reliant on peat. That doesn't mean we're peat free at all, but reducing the amount of peat we use in our soils. And then people are going to see a difference. The soil is lighter. The way it breaks down is a little different. So we're still in a state of flux. Managing raw material supply. So we don't have every single time an exact recipe. It is efficacy is as good. The way that it works and it presents itself is a little bit better. And so we're learning as we go along, just like everybody is. And that's what we're trying to create and do and still deliver the best product. We do wonderful, healthy, organically approved soil. That's what we're world-class composters. We use inputs appropriately, and we want to improve that. We want to make that even better. And we're in this process. We're in this process of truly understanding things like wood fiber, and then how does it impact our recipes? We have to make those adjustments. And at the same time, we're making a lot of soil that we have to get out to garden centers. So there's a balance. Do we deliver?
Gotta keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to be thoughtful and proactive, and then it's a lot of pressure to deliver on time. So we're doing the right things. We're not perfect. We're just doing the right things though, and we're on the right path.
You are. And I really love that you're doing this on Earth Day, because I think that's the most important thing, is that we all need to do better all
Yes.
the time. None of us are perfect.
Mm.
So we just take those little steps to improve on how we treat this planet and each other. And this is a great talk for Earth Day.
I think that, what's frustrating for all of us, right? On a global scale, there's a lot going on in this world. You have a grandmother that grew up in the Ukraine, and that in the world today, there's a lot on people's minds, and it feels like the world is falling apart in many ways. It's not, but what I always say to people is, you don't get overwhelmed. Don't think that the world isn't going to exist. Don't think that, tomorrow is going to be bad. Go out in your own backyard, do what you can for yourself and for your yard. And that's the little piece that you can do. And then if you have the ability, the capability, and the energy to do more, do it.
Yeah.
If we sit around just criticizing each other all the time, we're getting nowhere. And we got to be out there and we got to applaud each other, for picking up some plastic on the side of the road. I can't walk down the street. I'm in a beautiful town that I live in. I go out for a walk or a run, and you still see trash on the side of the road. It's like, how do we can't get people to stop throwing litter? And now we're trying to fight these global, threats to our environment. We have to do it together, and we have to do it. Nobody's perfect. We have to accept each other. Are we getting a step further where we want to be? And I think that for Coast of Maine, the core of who we are is organic practices. We have become world-class composters. We are doing good things for the environment. We are buy local. We're doing programs to educate kids. We do a lot of good stuff. We're not perfect. I'm not going to point my finger at somebody else. I'm not. Because what I look at is, who are we as a company, and are we getting better? And we are, and we have to. So on Earth Day, when you and I talk, I think we're doing the best job that we can, and we need to get better. And that's part of this transition from peat to wood fiber. And I don't see us as being completely peat free, not in the short range. We're reducing it, we're changing it, we're learning what's going to be better. And again, it's taking the natural environment of the earth. And basically what we do with composting is we just speed it up in a very natural way. The way that the leaves drop off a tree and break down into the soil over time, we just do it in a big pile. We pile it up with equipment, and we just make it happen faster, and we control it, and we can have outputs that we understand exactly how your plant's going to grow. Having said that, we still have to do more, and that's what we're trying to do.
This is the first year I've been using Coast of Maine products on my farm. And I just want to tell you how happy I am with the results. I was out this morning pulling tulips out. We pull them right out from the bulb. We treat them as an annual. And it's a brand new bed that I just created in the fall with Coast of Maine raised bed mix. And the amount of earthworms is just amazing. It's beautiful. So I want to thank you for producing such an amazing product, and for caring about the environment, for getting better all the time, and just making this world a safer and a better place.
Thank you. That is our staff. We have, as I mentioned, Felicia, I think it's important to, Carlos, who started the company in '96, had this great idea, and he also had the concept of beautiful packaging, a world-class product, and buy local that we continue today. And yeah, it is a great product, and it's the people that make it. And we do have great packaging, but I always say it's the content. It is a very pretty bag, but what's in it is the most important thing. And that's the people that make it that. So I think that, with peat and sustainability, we are moving in the right direction. People will, even this year, see a difference in the products that they open, and be patient, just like we need to be with each other. Is that it may look different, it may not look exactly what you got last year, but the fact is our products have always changed. They're never exactly the same. It's compost, it's life, it changes in the bag, it changes when it's bagged. So, you know, we try to control that as much as possible. And we also have wonderful partnerships with our independent retailers that carry our products. And they're huge advocates for us too. So it's this piece of us all working together to make this all work, celebrate Earth Day. And I think the future is really bright. I really do.
So for folks that do care,
Yeah.
what products, you mentioned that you do have some products that are already peat-free.
Yes.
Can you tell us what they are?
Yeah. So what I have to explain when I say we have some products that are already peat-free, those products are under Costa Maine brands, but not under the Costa Maine brand. So
Gotcha.
we bought a small, well, not small, they were probably as big as us in gross sales. We purchased Fry Brothers.
That's near us in Pennsylvania.
and they're now Fry Group under Costa Maine brands. And so what we did with them was we modified their packaging a little bit. They also pack Costa Maine. So they had worked with Core because they have a specialty mix line. So with coconut core in the past, which is a replacement for peat. But it's not easy to get as a raw material. A lot of it comes from Sri Lanka, and we know there's a lot of things going on there. Shipping is an issue that's not completely sustainable either. And it works differently than peat. Peat will not readily absorb moisture. Once it absorbs it, it retains it pretty well. But I don't know if you've ever had the experience of having your peat dry out. It's super difficult to
rehydrate. It is.
Core actually holds on to moisture very easily, but then it reacts differently in the soil. So it's not, when you replace that, you have to do a lot of shifting with it. So that's one sustainable product that we have that we use in many of the Fry blends. We do specialty blends. We have a group of mixes that are actually designed for professional growers on a large scale. And that's where we started doing that. And then some of the Fry bagged products, we have a leaf compost that is peat free. And we don't add any peat to that. It's basically just leaf compost. The cow manure that we use in the Fry product is also peat free. It's really mostly just where we do some blends with Costa Maine. That particular product is dehydrated cow manure. And then we have a soil conditioner, and that is peat free. It's really pine bark and very small pine bark. It's a higher acid content, but those three are all peat-free mixes. But we don't have what a lot of people are looking for is a potting soil that's peat-free, and we're developing that for 2023.
Awesome.
We will have that product that'll be under the Costa Maine brand, and and there'll be more as we move forward. People are demanding it, which is a good thing. And I answer a lot of questions about peat, and just let people know that, yeah, we're not perfect. We're moving in that direction. I don't know the time frame that will be completely peat free, but we're becoming more and more sustainable every day. We're also, the other piece that we're doing is we're actively looking for composting sites, soils, packaging companies, people that are already doing things the right way. We would like to be able to connect local locations to the local products. So when we started out, Coast of Maine was local to Maine and New England. Then we started distributing down into the mid-Atlantic, and we weren't. And it was expensive, and resources were stretched and not being used properly. And so that's why we purchased Fry, to be local to the mid-Atlantic, doing things right there. And the plan is to be able to do this in pockets across the country so that we have these regions where we're truly a local product for people to go to. So the buy local and the organic practices and sustainability, that's who we are.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Is there anything that, as you've worked with us and you've known us and you've seen us over the years, are there questions there that you may have had others ask you, or is there anything that you'd like to ask me about our products or where we're going, what we're doing?
Packaging is one thing.
Yeah.
Plastic packaging, is there?
That's a great question.
And any thoughts about becoming more sustainable in that area?
That's a great question. It's been a frustration for all of us actually over the years. I came to Coast of Maine in 2007, and we've always been looking for more sustainable options. And we're going out to a company in New York. I won't say the name of the company right now, but we're looking for options. And so we are pushing on that. One of the things that we were always known for, and still are, so we do a heavier bag, because in reality, bags at garden centers have to be able to weather through a couple of seasons, and they take a beating. We have a higher UV coating. Our ply is a little thicker. Because
I have noticed that your bags hold up very well.
They do. That's good in one way, and it's right. Not good in another way, in that they're harder to recycle. And so we've got to get to the point where there's a balance. So we're going through, actually, we're kind of going through some rebranding of our products. And I expect that you'll see a change in the way that our stuff looks going forward over the next few years. This isn't an immediate thing. This is, again, a shift, a step-by-step, a purposeful process to be able to say, we want the Coast of Maine bags to still be beautiful, but we want them to be more sustainable, and looking into those options and seeing also, well, what's going to actually hold up. We're going to have something that, what's the balance between the product holding up and being delivered properly? And there's great options out there. I mean, I know that, there's some great local companies. I really respect what Down to Earth, the fertilizer company, does with it. They have those cardboard boxes that are much more sustainable. I think their imagery is great. I'd like to see us do something like that. I know that in the past, I think Vermont Compost used to do a burlap sack, but it wasn't sustainable. I mean, it was sustainable, but there was a lot of spilled soil all over the place. So there's a balance. And I think as we go and become more inventive, that we'll be able to fix that issue. At the end of the day, we're doing good stuff.
Right.
I'm proud of our company and what we do, and we have a lot more to do. So we just need to work together to do it. Now, one of the ways that we work together that I love, that I can talk about all day, is doing our Growing Good program. And, the ability to connect a school with a local retailer to donate, just 10 bags of soil, which isn't a huge donation, but I was just looking today, I've donated to over 360 school gardens over the time. So that has an impact. We're teaching kids, we're supporting teaching, we're teaching environmental practices, organic practices, the ability to grow your own food. Food insecurity is so huge in this country. And that if we can teach people how to take care of themselves, and we're a part of that, that's a good thing. And then bringing the community together, better communication, more support, people talking face to face, not just over Zoom. Those are important things. So I think we're on the right path with those things too.
Well, it's a lot of good stuff. I just want to tell you that I am so happy with everything you guys do and so proud to use your product and be associated with you in some way, shape, or form. Thanks for that opportunity.
You're welcome. Now you're making me cry. Okay. What happens?
I really believe in what you do,
Thank
and it makes a difference in how I do my job.
Yeah, I see it with what you write. I see it with your effort. I see the beauty of the pictures that you take. And we're very proud to be working with you in Garden Center Solutions. I think it makes us all better. So thank you for working with Coast of Maine too.
Well, have a good Earth Day, Cameron.
You too. I've got some editing to do, and I'm gonna have to go put some pants on too, because I haven't had. No. I'm kidding. Just a joke. I have sweatpants on.